Rule number 1, we have to teach you flirting.
I know how to flirt.
This week on At the Movies, Gerard Butler helps Katherine Heigl find Mr. Right in the romantic comedy The Ugly Truth.
Come on, it's not working.
James Bond never had these problems.
Nicolas Cage, Penelope Cruz, and Tracy Morgan voice rodents on a mission to save the world in G-Force.
I don't think Mommy likes me very much.
Peter and Orphan.
I'm Mike Chadway, and we're back with The Ugly Truth. Now listen up, ladies. You want a relationship, and here's how you get one. It's called a Stairmaster. Get on it. No one falls in love with your personality at first sight.
Gerard Butler teaches Katherine Heigl The Ugly Truth. I'm Ben Lyons from E! Entertainment.
And I'm Ben Mankiewicz from Turner Classic Movies. Earlier this year, we reviewed 3 big romantic comedies: Ghosts of Girlfriends Past, My Life in Ruins, and The Proposal. Each suggested that opposites attract, very bold, and each was largely unwatchable. Now we get The Ugly Truth, same premise. A morning show producer in Sacramento, Katherine Heigl, is a prim, proper control freak. She loves her cat and can't find a date. Then the station hires a cable access star, Gerard Butler, who speaks frankly, crudely, and allegedly truthfully about what men really want.
Wow.
What the hell are you doing?
I'm saving you. He was blowing you off.
He wasn't blowing me off.
He'll be expecting you to call him, and when you don't, he'll call back.
How do you know?
Because I know how men operate. If you want it to work out with this guy, then you'll listen to me, and you'll do exactly as I say.
Butler is intrigued by Heigl. Heigl hates Butler. Necessity, however, leads them to make a deal. She'll help him out at the station if he'll be her Cyrano de Bergerac, telling her what to say and how to act, so she can get her dreamy doctor neighbor to notice her. Because women who look like Katherine Heigl are always getting ignored in the movies.
Colin, would you mind actually giving me a call a little bit later? I'm just so busy. Gotta get back to those dishes.
Abby, wait.
What now?
Make him suffer.
Make him suffer. Suffer.
Abby, I was wondering if you'd like to go to the Devils game with me on Saturday.
Something about this film makes it better than its romantic predecessors this year. This one is more adult. The dialogue much, I think the only appropriate word here is dirtier. Though Heigl and Butler have little chemistry together, both characters are fairly likable. Sadly, being a better romantic comedy than The Proposal is not saying much. The Ugly Truth has a nice moment here and there, but there's much more ugliness than truth. Skip it.
I found their chemistry to be strong when they were going opposite each other, and then they develop a friendship, and I thought that worked nicely. But then, as you said, the movie just sort of dives into every other romantic comedy we've ever seen before, and that's where it really lost me. I didn't need them to try and find a way to make this work. I liked the idea of them being polar opposites and staying that way. It was a lot more believable in the first half of the movie, and especially the third act just kind of spirals into convention.
If this movie had gone in a slightly atypical direction, if they'd stayed angry at each other but maybe formed a friendship and she'd ended up with the doctor and he'd ended up with some floozy, then there might have been something special here.
It would have been creative and a little bit different. And, you know, Heigl is likable. She's not lovable yet on screen the way a Sandra Bullock or a Julia Roberts is. And there is some physical comedy, but it seems like stuff we've seen before. There's a scene at a dinner table that is completely ripped from When Harry Met Sally.
Yeah, I thought that was an okay scene.
An okay scene.
The final scene involves Katherine Heigl and Gerard Butler in a hot air balloon. It looks like the kind of...
It looks like a green screen. It's jarringly so. You say, oh my, that can't be real.
How did we go back to 1979? Yeah, it looked terrible.
People don't go on dates with earpieces and getting advice. It's just not believable, and that's where it lost me, so I'm going to have to say skip The Ugly Truth. Now, over the years, Kevin Spacey has brought us a long list of memorable characters, and now he's added another to his stellar resume, Dr. Henry Carter in his latest film, Shrink. Directed by Jonas Pate, the film takes place in Los Angeles and centers around Spacey's business as, you guessed it, a psychiatrist. He meets with a collection of Hollywood types, agents, aspiring writers, and established movie stars, but struggles to give them the advice they need as he copes with the recent loss of his wife.
My mother was her godmother. What does that make us?
God brothers by marriage.
Does that even exist?
I don't think so.
I rode my moped to the cemetery last week. Left her some flowers.
She would have liked that.
That's the underrated Mark Webber, playing an aspiring writer who valets and mows lawns to pay the bills while shopping his screenplay to Patrick, a high-powered agent played by Dallas Roberts, who represents big-time movie stars, including an actress played by Saffron Burrows. She happens to visit Spacey as a patient with her rock star husband. It's all interwoven, it's all connected, and it doesn't feel forced for a moment.
Did you always want to be a therapist?
I don't even know anymore. That is ancient history.
You're not that old, you know.
Neither are you.
A strong script from writer Thomas Moffat and stellar work from Spacey are what really make this movie work. I say see it.
You say the interconnectivity of the characters doesn't feel forced. I felt it felt forced from the first moment into the last moment. They're supposed to come together like this, and they come together like this. It never works. I believe that they could all be patients of the doctor, but then independently how they relate to each other, totally inauthentic.
One's an agent, one's a writer, or several of them are actors. They all work in the same business in Los Angeles. Their paths are going to cross. It's a one-industry town in a lot of ways, so I feel like that was believable.
I've met maybe 2 agents in my whole life. I mean, I don't think that every single one of them, again, inauthentic, they would all be this connected, other than their connection to Kevin Spacey, which I understand.
He's the driving force of the film. He's the foundation of the movie. And right when the movie starts to get a little heavy-handed and becomes a downer, there's some really funny moments, and there's some great writing. And Dallas Roberts adds a lot, some satirical moments, making fun of Hollywood, which I appreciate.
I like Dallas Roberts. I thought Jesse Plemons from Friday Night Lights is very good. I'm a big fan of Saffron Burrows.
So here you have an ensemble of talented performers and an interesting sort of quirky movie about Hollywood. What's not to like?
Everything, because the movie ultimately collapses under its own seriousness, its own weight, without ever really sort of branching out and us understanding what is happening to these people. So, again, too heavy, weighs its own self down, good performances, but not enough to save the movie. I'm going to go ahead and say skip, shrink. Now, coming up next, it's guinea pigs to the rescue in G-Force.
And later, a young couple adopts a girl with deadly motives in Orphan.
Agent Darwin, status report.
I have a visual on Saber. He's wearing a $6,000 suit, $50,000 watch, and according to my infrared scope, Hanes, size 36, tidy whities.
Blaster, Juarez, time to get this party started.
Our next film, the perfect Hollywood marketing storm. Disney, Bruckheimer, 3D. It's G-Force, the first 3D picture produced by Jerry Bruckheimer, the great action producer and the pioneers of the family film. What could possibly go wrong? I mean, other than having no story or script.
I feel the need for speed.
The story features an elite team of highly trained guinea pig federal agents, voiced by Tracy Morgan, Penelope Cruz, and Sam Rockwell, along with a mole, voiced by Nicolas Cage. They uncover a plot by a billionaire to destroy the world with household appliances. This blend of CGI and live action has 3 very talented actors who are all completely wasting that talent here. Zach Galifianakis, so fresh and subtle in The Hangover, is the guinea pig's human handler. Bill Nye is the high-tech billionaire. And Will Arnett is a one-note, self-protective FBI agent who wants to shut the guinea pigs down.
This is a rodent.
Guinea pigs, sir. Don't say that. They get highly offended. You know their DNA is 98.7% identical to humans, right?
No, how would I know that?
Never has 3D done less to enhance the look of a film. It's a cross between a 1970s Disney Herbie the Love Bug movie and Transformers 2. I don't think kids will find it funny, and their parents will find it unbearable. Skip it.
I agree, Mank. The parents will definitely find it unbearable, but the only kind of positive thing I can say about the film is the parents will find it appropriate for younger audiences. It's not as violent as I expected it, but nothing really of note here. Nothing really stands out. Even though it's in 3D, nothing jumps off the screen. You're right. It's really underwhelming in terms of how it's shot. Galifianakis doesn't have much to do. He's kind of just standing around looking confused, doesn't have many jokes. One of the funniest guys in movies doesn't have a funny line in the movie.
So flat. Everybody's
Nothing.
so
the whole
flat.
thing is flat.
I saw it in a theater packed with families, packed with kids, and I gotta be honest, there was very little laughter, even from the kids.
It just didn't come together. I'm gonna have to say skip G-Force.
Coming up next, a good deed goes horribly wrong in Orphan.
I love you, Dad.
And on next week's show, the writer, director, and producer of The 40-Year-Old Virgin and Knocked Up brings us Funny People with Adam Sandler and Seth Rogen.
I have to save her. Save her from her beautiful house and lovely husband.
Esther's a very shy, reserved, sensitive little girl going through an extremely difficult time. She's exceptionally bright,
and highly articulate. She just needs a little patience and understanding.
Painfully predictable, our next movie is Orphan, which stars Vera Farmiga and Peter Sarsgaard as a married couple and the parents of two adorable little children, Max and Daniel. When Farmiga's character, Kate, suffers a miscarriage, they decide to visit their neighborhood orphanage, where apparently it only takes 3 weeks to adopt a child. They take home a 9-year-old girl named Esther, played by Isabel Fuhrman, and guess what? Esther isn't the cute and cuddly kid they thought she was. Oh, no. Turns out she's a deranged lunatic itching to embark on a murdering spree.
Here she comes. Wave your arms and make her stop. Max, go.
Of course, there's never a serious police investigation into any of the violent occurrences that suddenly seems to start happening rather frequently once Esther enters their lives. Her new brother and sister never once confide in their loving, trusting, and supportive parents and share the perhaps useful information that the latest addition to their family has held them at knife point and at gunpoint and is certifiably insane.
It's always better to burn the evidence. If they find these things, they won't just be coming for me. They'll be coming for Max, too. Is it really what you want? Wait! What are you doing?
This movie features one cheap horror cliche after the next. Eerie music, creaking floorboards, people jumping out from behind windows. There's also a twist that you'll see coming from a mile away. Some might say this is simply a guilty pleasure. That's giving the film far too much credit. Skip Orphan.
We really watched different movies here. I think you missed all the sort of fun that is in this movie. I mean, it is a horror movie, but I thought from start to finish, there's a sort of a sense of adventure, a sense of delight mixed with the horror that made this movie, I think, quite successful. I don't think it works without two really accomplished grown-up lead actors. Peter Sarsgaard is terrific, and Vera Farmiga is as good a working actress as there is out there today.
They're fine in the roles, and they help sort of ground the movie, because for me, I don't know what's really fun about seeing a 9-year-old girl take a hammer to somebody's head over and over again. That's not enjoyable for me at the moment.
It's a horror movie, Ben.
I understand a scary movie. I love Drag Me to Hell, which came out this summer. I think that's a film that really acknowledged the fact that it was trying to scare you, but it was also trying to make you laugh. It knew its tone and its voice. Here, I think it's confused, and the moments that are funny, the audience is laughing at the screen and not really laughing at the action on the screen.
I think they're laughing with the characters. I think it stays also sort of grounded in reality, although, yes, you can pick it apart a little bit.
Pick it apart a little bit. You can pick it apart throughout. There are numerous loopholes in this film, and if you want a movie like this to be grounded in reality, it has to seem believable.
We don't have the time to do it here, but I think many of the criticisms which you levied in your main review are actually fairly easily explained away. I think this is fun. There's a sense of adventure to it. Really strong performances from Sarsgaard and Farmiga. It's bloody, you should be warned, but in the end, it is worth it for you to go see Orphan. Next up, Hump Day. And let me make this clear. This movie is not about a Wednesday. Instead, it's about something you've never seen before on screen. Hump Day from writer-director Lynn Shelton is the story of two male friends from college who decide after a long night of serious drinking to have sex with each other on camera as a quote-unquote art project.
And then it evolved into this weird straight guy macho thing.
This shouldn't be about us challenging each other.
Give me the phone!
Oh, it's on.
Is somebody having sex in his film?
Yes, as far as I understand.
What are you doing?
Mark Duplass is Ben, the married conventional friend. Joshua Leonard plays Andrew, the independent free spirit. And Alicia Delmore is just sensational as Ben's wife. This film is not about sex. It's about the bounds of friendship and marriage, the expectations of success, the importance of exploring your limits. The film's conclusion must not be spoiled, but I will tell you it is completely credible, and I think you should see Hump Day.
We talk a lot about credibility and believability on this show, and I don't know if I buy the premise, but you know what? You kind of have to go with it. You're forced to jump into it, and the three lead actors, as you said, all really give strong performances, and that sort of helps make this situation that probably isn't plausible in real life enjoyable to watch unfold on screen.
Well, it may not be plausible to you and me, but the idea that in this country there are sort of free-spirited 20-somethings who think they ought to be sort of pushing the boundaries of their own sexuality, I think it's plausible. We're not talking about an everyday occurrences, but we're looking at two unique friends in a unique situation.
Absolutely unique. This is an original film. It feels fresh on the screen. However, it does have some problems, I think, wrapping up certain scenes. Certain scenes seem to drag a little bit, and that's where it kind of lost me.
Well, this is from the so-called mumblecore movement, movies about 20-somethings and people, and they just talk, and it's got a cinema verite style, and so the conversations can run on. I'll admit that's a problem, although I think in the end, some of those conversations, I think really memorable and really well executed.
I agree with you. Lots to like here, an intriguing premise, but ultimately the premise wears thin and it kind of runs out of steam. So I'm going to say you can rent Hump Day. Coming up next, Jeff Daniels is a spiritual guru. He needs to work on his own life in The Answer Man.
You are a disaster, Arlen.
Hey, pretend person. If you're done hallucinating, I'd love a shot at being a customer in this place.
Our next movie is The Answer Man. Jeff Daniels' character is Arlen Faber, who was the Deepak Chopra of his day. 20 years ago, writing a bestseller detailing his profound conversations with God. Now, he's a hermit, hiding from the world and the hidden truth about that divine dialogue. Lauren Graham plays a chiropractor who's one of the few people on the planet who's apparently never heard of Arlen.
My name is Arlen Faber. My name is Arlen Faber.
I believe you. Next week, Arlen.
Success has not suited Arlen, and his misanthropic run-ins with the rest of the cast are amusing and buttressed by the strength of some of those actors, many in small parts, including Olivia Thirlby as Lauren Graham's receptionist and Tony Hale as a mailman and a big fan.
I knew it! You're Arlen Faber. Oh, I can't believe it. I have read Me and God like 40 times. My mother is not gonna believe this.
So you have a likable cast, an engaging enough story with a few moments of both humor and emotional honesty. But writer-director John Hyndman's effort to weave together the stories of the main characters, all emotionally broken in some way, is often a bit haphazard and a little trite. The Answer Man is in limited release, it's available on demand, and I'd say in the end, it's worth a rent it.
Mank, there are a lot of great writer-directors working out there in Hollywood, you know, from Quentin Tarantino and Spike Lee to Judd Apatow. And here, John Hyndman, I just don't think it came together for him because it almost felt like the characters weren't really reciting dialogue that came from them, but rather just simply memorizing it off the script.
Well, I thought there were some funny moments of conversation between them, and ultimately, I guess that led me to care about the characters. My biggest problem was slightly different than yours. It was that while I grew to like a few of these characters, I started wondering why they were making some of the choices that they were making.
I believe Jeff Daniels in this role as sort of the reclusive writer who's not comfortable with the world and all his success, but where's his story arc? How does he sort of develop? How does Lauren Graham really influence him and change his perspective on the world? I didn't really see that.
I thought in the end, especially for a movie called The Answer Man, that the end was far too formulaic and far too perfect. The point is that there is no clear answer, and then they sort of went ahead and gave us a clear answer. I thought that was a mistake.
Yeah, I think the whole thing didn't work and come together. You can skip The Answer Man.
Want to know what you can't miss this weekend? Stay tuned for my 3 to see.
Closed captioning for At the Movies is sponsored by...
What makes a Hershey's bar pure? Pure gooey goodness. The pure joy of winning a s'mores barbecue with Rascal Flats. Check specially marked packs to learn how. Pure Hershey's.
Hotel provided by Park Hyatt Chicago. Chicago's award-winning hotel and luxury dining experience. Located in the heart of Chicago's Magnificent Mile on Water Tower Square.
Time to recap the movies on this week's show. We both say you can skip The Ugly Truth. We disagreed on Shrink. I say see it. Mank says you can skip it. We agreed that you can skip G-Force. And we split on Orphan. I say skip it. Mank says see it. We split again on Hump Day. I say rent it. Mank says see it. I say skip The Answer Man. And Mank says to rent it.
My 3 to see begins with a blockbuster. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. This is my favorite Potter movie and the most adult Potter, which makes sense as all 3 leads really seem on the precipice of grown-up acting success. At number 2, in an admittedly thin week, a film I'm surprised to be recommending, Orphan. Jama Khaled Sarah's movie probably isn't what you expect. It's more of a psychological thriller than a traditional horror movie. It's tense and terrifying, but also vibrant and a lot of fun. At number 1, still expanding into more theaters, The Hurt Locker, the best Iraq War movie since the war began. Thrilling, action-packed, and emotional. The movie is full of great performances. See it soon while you can.
Well, that's it for now. Remember, we're always online, and you can now follow us on Twitter. Go to @themoviestv.com to find out how.
Join us next week when we'll review Funny People from Judd Apatow, the writer and director of The 40-Year-Old Virgin and Knocked Up. And until then, as always, we'll be at the movies.
Are you crying right now?
I don't think I am.
Oh, come on, wipe it off. People are gonna think I broke up with you.
Activon Ultra Strength for powerful pain relief. A convenient applicator means no messy creams. Activon, applied directly where it hurts for joint pain, muscle pain, arthritis, and backache.
Nice finger. A wart could get used to this.
Did it get cold?
Dr. Scholl's Freeze Away removes warts fast with as little as 1 treatment.
You'll miss me.
Dr. Scholl's Freeze Away.
Millions of pet owners trust 1-800-PET-MEDS for fast service, free shipping, and big savings. Call now or order online from 1-800-PET-MEDS, America's largest pet pharmacy.
Hal Jordan is Green Lantern. Witness the origin of a cure.
Over, Sinestro.
In his first animated feature. Green Lantern, First Flight on Blu-ray and DVD.